Hello, vinyl community. How you doing? It's Bill with the Vinylverse. I've made it to the end of the 50 album challenge. I have 10 albums to go, and I'm going to go through them with you right here. So I've done this 4 other times, about a week and a half time frame for each to listen to each stack of 10, and I have my final stack here. So kind of sad to see it end, but it was definitely good to revisit a lot of these records, and I'm looking forward to revisiting these 10 here that I'm going to show, numbers 41 through 50. Starting with Eric Clapton, August. Jeff Kempen just recently revisited this album. I think he said it was in the back of his crate, and he's been working through that crate. So this came out in 1986. Great band on this album. Phil Collins on drums. He also produces the album. Greg Philliganes on keyboards and Nathan East on bass. It's got the song "It's in the Way That You Use It." That was a big hit for him. Was featured in the movie The Color of Money. Run, Tearing Us Apart, Bad Influence. So it's been quite some time since I've heard this one. I'm gonna check it out this week. Eric Clapton, August from 1986. Now, from one guitarist to another. This is Mr. Guitar, Chet Atkins, and this is Chet Atkins, my favorite guitars. This was originally put out in 1958, or no, sorry, 1965. This came out in 1965. It's on RCA. Yeah, it's been quite some time since I've listened to this, but I really enjoy this album. This is the only Chet Atkins album I have. I'd like to add some others to my collection, but this is a good one. Yeah, so Chet Atkins, my favorite guitars. Next, Switched on Bach. If you're not familiar with this album, it's by Walter Carlos, who later became Wendy Carlos. Great electronic musician, Moog synthesizers, other electronics, just great. So this is basically electronic, classical electronic Bach. Terrific stuff here. It's been quite some time since I've listened to it. You'll see this is a promo copy. It's got the track run stamp or pasted over here. This is the original cover. After this came out, they shortly put it out with a different cover. Not too sure what the issue was. I think they just weren't happy with the look on his face or so. Said he looked constipated. But yeah, should be a good listen. Big fan of Wendy Carlos, or Walter Carlos as it was. And what year did this come out? 68, if I didn't mention it. Jumping all the way to 1983, and I'm sure we all know it and love it. Huey Lewis and the News, Sports. This was their huge album from 1983. Lots of hits. The Heart of Rock and Roll, Heart and Soul, I Want a New Drug, If This Is It. Yeah, just a classic album. 80s pop. It's been a long time since I've listened to it, so this might be fun to have my kids listen to as well. So yeah, Huey Lewis and the News, Sports. Next, the double album. This is Creedence Clearwater Revival, Chronicles 2, Volume 2, Chronicle Volume 2. This came out in 1986. And I remember I got this from a friend on my 15th birthday. So it's in great condition here for having it for so long. But looking forward to giving this a spin. Of course, Susie Q, Born on the Bayou, Tombstone Shadow, Nighttime is the Right Time, Cotton Fields, Midnight Special, Molina. Yeah, just a lot of great stuff on this album. Next, some jazz. And this is the Dave Brubeck Quintet Reunion. This came out in 1958, and this is a 1984 reissue here on the OGC label. So, of course, this has the normal Dave Brubeck Quartet, plus the addition of David Van Crete. I don't really know the true story, or the story, but I guess David Van Crete, Dave Brubeck, and Paul Desmond, I guess they had played together in earlier bands or such. But yeah, but this also has the great Joe Morello on drums, and yeah, Norm Bates also on the bass here. So looking forward to checking this out again. It's on the Fantasy label. Okay, next from 1976, this is Billy Joel, his album Turnstiles. In this challenge, I also did another Billy Joel album, Piano Man. That may have been in the first batch. So here we are in the last batch, and Billy Joel's coming up again. Yeah, classic album by his. A lot of people consider it one of his best. Say Goodbye to Hollywood, Summer Highland Falls, New York State of Mind, and Miami 2017 are the notable songs on here. So it's been at least a couple years since I've listened to this, so it'll be good to check it out again. Okay, next is King Crimson USA. This came out in 1975, and King Crimson had disbanded at the point that this came out, I believe. But this is the lineup that I like the best of King Crimson, and it's of course Robert Fripp on guitar, John Wetton on bass and vocals, David Cross on violin, and then of course the amazing Bill Bruford on drums. So this was an album that was recorded in June of 1974. So great songs like Larks, Tongues, and Aspic Part 2, Easy Money, Exiles, 21st Century, Schizoid Man. I already know I love this album, but it's been quite some time since I've actually listened to it, so definitely looking forward to giving this a listen. May do that soon, maybe after I film this video. Alright, next, the original drum battle, Gene Krupa and Buddy Rich. So, this was a live concert from 1952, I believe, But the original album didn't come out till 1960, and this is a 1962 pressing. I think the first time it was pressed, it had a totally different cover. But this has some great players on it, like Oscar Peterson, Lester Young, and Ella Fitzgerald sings on this as well. So this is a great recording, and I'm looking forward to giving it a spin again. So last, it's Supertramp. Crisis, What Crisis? This is their fourth studio album. Came out in 1975. They were just starting to get some momentum as a band. Their previous album, Crime of the Century, just an amazing album. So yeah, it's been quite some time since I've heard this one. There's the band there. Easy Does It, Ain't Nobody But Me, a soapbox opera. Should be a very good listen. It's been probably a couple years since I've heard it. This is on A&M Records. So that's the 10 this week. The final 10. This was a good experience, and I can encourage anyone who is looking to revisit their collection to go through this process. It's definitely gets you going through stuff you haven't heard in a long time, and totally worth it in my opinion. Had a good time doing it, and I'm happy I did it. It's taken a couple months here to do it, so there's no time frame, so I encourage anyone to jump in and do this, and no better time to start than the present. So that's going to do it for me. Everyone have a great weekend. I hope everyone's doing well. Finally, we've had some sunshine here. It's been a rainy month or so. So finally, the sun's been shining. It's been beautiful, and I hope it is where you are too. So everyone, take care of yourselves. I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.